Hi everybody, Beanmeister22 here. Hey, check this out. Our very large Israeli huntsman spider caught himself another cricket. That's right. It's a big spider, but he is quite the hunter. This is a pretty good sized cricket. Now, these spiders can get as big as the palm of your hand. Well, if you have small hands, let's say 5.5, 6-inch leg span. Currently, he's 3.5, almost 4-inch leg span, and his body's it's almost as big as my thumb. So you can see how large this cricket is in relation to him. It's a big cricket, but he's a big hunter, and it's a big spider. Now this is a cool spider. It's also a creepy looking spider. This is an Israeli huntsman, and it comes from the Arava Valley between the border of Jordan and Israel. We've talked about this before in other videos. There are very similar spiders to this called desert huntsmen that come from other desert places over there in the Middle East. But because this one comes from the Arava Valley, it has some other fancy Latin name and it's different than the desert huntsman. Now that might be because it's found in a different place. It was discovered at different times. This was originally thought that this spider only lived in the Arava Valley, in the salt marshes, or actually in the sand dunes desert area adjacent to the salt marshes. Marshes? It's one of those weird words, roads, root. Anyways, the salt marshes, and I guess after that, it was discovered to live in other places. So the spiders from the other places, it has its own distinct Latin name, and this one has its own Latin name. Are they the same genetic species? I don't know. But they look very similar. And this is just a normal banded cricket, but it's a large one. So yeah, nothing fancy about the cricket. This is just a really big spider. Now I've had him, I want to say pushing 8 months now, almost to a year. I don't know how long they live. He does this thing where he hangs upside down on the lid of his habitat. He'll climb on the Black Widow statue we have in there, and he'll hang out on the walls. What's really weird is these are supposed to be a trapdoor type spider. He's supposed to dig something in the sand and use web and saliva to make a trap. But he hasn't been doing any digging. He hasn't been doing any trapdooring. If you remember in our last video, I talked about I put this little plastic rock fake cave in there, in case that's what he wanted to do. I've never seen him go inside of the cave. Though I've seen him stand on it, and he's kind of standing partially on it right now, and you can see the spider poops are right there on it. So, he does climb on it. He just hasn't been inside it that I've seen. And we've probably had that in there at least a month, maybe a little bit longer. Does he not know what a cave is? He just likes to hang around? Okay, so if they live at the border of salt marshes, and they live in the sand dunes, but they're salt marshes, so you gotta figure, it's a marsh, right? There's grasses and reeds and stuff, so they probably, climb up all in them and catch bugs and climb on them things, so he is a climber. If he was to get out, there is no doubt in my mind he would scurry up a wall and try to hang upside down on the ceiling. I'm looking around at my ceiling now to make sure there's no spiders hanging upside down. Because he likes high places. And he likes himself some crickets. Yeah. I can't see him wanting to escape, I can't see him escaping successfully because the rest of the house is too cold. He's a desert spider. He likes it hot. Yes, it's summertime now, but we got the AC cranking, trying to keep it at about 68 degrees. Probably it's closer to 72, but we're set for 68 degrees, and he wouldn't like that cold weather. I keep his habitat around 85 to 95-ish. At nighttime, it gets as cool as 75 to 80. But yeah, I don't know exactly what temperature he likes. I think he likes the hotter temperature because, he's from the desert. I've gone online to read a little bit about the care and the fact sheets of these spiders, and it's really vague. You know, one place says this temperature, another place says it's kind of like the problem we're having with the camel spiders. Depending on where you go online, everybody has a different opinion on their temperatures and what you should have in the habitat, and it's bizarre. At least in the case of the camel spider, it's because they don't live very long and there hasn't been a lot of research done on them, and I would guess that's probably the case with this spider too. In the Arava Valley, they are becoming endangered due to farmers and crops, and so the sand dunes where they live are disappearing. But in other desert places, there are bunches of them. Now, it doesn't mean that it's an endangered spider. His habitat where he lives is becoming endangered. Therefore, the spiders that live there will no longer live there. Will they scurry away and go live in somebody's house? Well, I mean, they do well in captivity, so maybe that's exactly what they're going to do. Just move on somewhere else. This is a big spider. It's a creepy spider. And I don't really know there in this region if they are the largest spider or a small one or a medium size or an average size spider. So if their habitat disappears, will they just boogie on and find some other place to live? Well, it sounds like they have, at least under the moniker of desert huntsman, live in other places. With that said, I'm going to do the best I can to keep this one alive here, and I think we're doing pretty good. Like I said, haven't quite had him for a year yet. 8.5, maybe 9 months. So I'm very interested to see how long he will live. Now, the place I get these from, my supplier here, they haven't been in stock in quite some time, and then recently I looked and they were in stock. But when they're in stock, they only have a few of them because I believe they're wild caught. I do not believe they are bred in captivity. It's a cool enough spider and cooler than a tarantula. I mean, I'll tell you that right there, right? But they are weird looking. And you've seen the videos and the pictures we had of directly into his face with those big old fang things. And his eyes to me look like a Cylon, the old Cylons from the 80s, not the new ones from the, what was that, late 90s, early 2000s. Very creepy spider, but he's really cool looking. And he's, for some reason, my friends I've had over here who don't like spiders, who are really creeped out by the black widows, and are really creeped out by the giant house spiders and the huntsman, the giant huntsman spiders that zoom around really quick. They're not as creeped out as this as they are fascinated or in awe of this. So even though they don't like spiders and they don't want anything to do with those other spiders, they will stare at this one and they'll want, oh, well, no, we're not going to take him out and let him walk on us because he's venomous. All spiders are venomous. Is the spider going to kill you? I mean, I'm not a spider expert, right? A spider expert. Anyways, I'm not an expert at that, but any spider has venom, right? Any spider can give you a bad infection, which could lead to death or other things. Any spider could give you some kind of allergic reaction and you could croak just from that. So you don't want to get bit by a spider, even common spiders in your area. It's that whole getting stung by a bee and allergic to a bee sort of thing. Some people are naturally allergic to bees. That's just what it is. There are some people who have been stung, haven't had a problem with bees. I've never had a problem with being stung by a bee. But at any time you can become allergic to it, get stung by a bee, and have a really bad problem. So spiders, similar to scorpions, even though they're not considered dangerous to humans, when they inject their venom, doing finger quotes there, you don't know what's going to happen. You might have been bit 100 times, and then the 101st time, bam, that's all it took, anaphylactic shock. Ah! So you don't want to risk it. So these aren't spiders you handle. And even if you could handle it, I would not want this creepy thing. It's a huntsman, so it's fast. Even though it doesn't look like a huntsman. To me, it looks like a Harry Potter spider. Remember that first Harry Potter movie? That big giant spider with all them other giant spiders? Yeah. But like I said, he's creepy, but he's also fascinating. And he's a cool looking spider. You could watch him for hours. I have. He sits in the office his habitat is right next to my desk, so I can look over at him and, bam, here he is. And I'll see him doing something cool, so I'll have the camera on the tripod and bam, turn the camera on. I tried once putting one of the motion sensing cameras on. It didn't work. It wasn't going to work. So you just have to catch him doing something cool. He caught this cricket. It's a big cricket. He's doing a number on this cricket, taking his sweet old time. You can see I have several crickets in there. I fed them the other day, 2 days ago. Put 5 or 6 crickets in there. Let him hunt them down at his leisure. Remember, we have the video of him molting. And you're not supposed to have crickets in there when they molt. But right in the middle of the molt, we have a cricket walking right up to him. Yeah, you don't want crickets in when spiders molt. Even a big tarantula can die from a single cricket bite once they have molted and their exoskeleton, sheds away and they're all soft and vulnerable. Ooh. But yeah, this cricket's the one who's vulnerable right now. So I'm going to let you watch him munch on this cricket for a while. And I've got a couple things to do. And I will come back and we'll wrap the video up. All right, creepy old spider still eating away on a cricket. Man, just think. This spider you're watching on your screen here, on your phone, or on your big screen TV, or whatever you're watching this on, this spider would fit in the palm of your hand and take up most of the palm of your hand. In fact, its legs would reach to the edges of the palm of your hand, and its body would be the size of your thumb. Creepy spider. You know when you put something light in your hand and you can't really feel the weight? Yes, you would feel the weight in your hand. Plus, you'd feel his 8 legs being really creepy there. And if you've seen his fangs are almost, gosh, I want to say between 3/8 of an inch, between 1/4 and 1/2 an inch long. His fangs are like super huge. Go back and watch a couple of the other videos, the older ones, where there's a close up of his face and those monstrous fangs there. Oh, ugh. Like I said, you don't want him in your hand. And he's just taking his sweet time, just slurping away on that cricket, slurping the innards out of it. Man, just so weird, but fascinating. You just sit and watch this for hours. Oh yeah. All right, so we've wasted enough of your time, or you've wasted enough of your day staring at this creepy old spider eating a cricket. Yeah. Hopefully we can get him to do some tricks, you know. We haven't named him yet. At least I don't think we have. He's just creepy old spider, Harry Potter spider, and yeah. All right, so have you ever seen one of these? Do you want one of these? Because they, like I said, you can buy them here in the U.S., and you're giving it a good home if their area where they live is endangered, right? Yeah. All right, so leave those comments in the comment section. Ask me anything you want about them. I probably won't have any answers. You'll ask me a question I don't know. I'm going to use the Google machine to look up an answer and pretend I already know it. Yeah. All right, so leave comments in the comment section. As always, thanks for watching.
Beanmeister 22, the most dangerous man on YouTube.